Ladies and gentlemen, there is a place within you that the world cannot touch, a space so vast, so still, so eternal that even your loudest worries cannot echo there. It is not something you earn. It is not something you strive to create. It is already within you waiting. It waits patiently with the quiet majesty of the ocean for you to finally surrender. You were never asked to carry the weight of the world. You only believed you had to. You were never meant to orchestrate every detail of your life like a puppet master tightening the strings. You only thought control was safety, that if you held tighter, gripped harder, forced outcomes, managed every twist and turn, then maybe, just maybe, you could outrun the unknown. But the truth is, life was never yours to control. It was always yours to trust. Miracles are not the reward for effort. They are the natural result of alignment. They bloom not where force reigns, but where surrender breathes. Surrender is not about giving up. It is about letting go of the illusion that you ever had to fight for your worth, your peace, your direction. You are not here to micromanage the universe. You are here to remember the divine orchestra already playing behind the scenes, the one your soul has always danced to, even when your mind was too loud to hear the melody. The miracle does not arrive when you figure everything out. It arrives when you realize you don't need to. You see, the ego thrives on certainty. It feeds on control. It seeks safety in the illusion of dominance, of being the one who holds the reins. But your soul trusts, your soul flows. Your soul doesn't ask what if, it whispers. Even if you don't know the outcome, you are safe. Even if the path is unclear, you are guided. Even if things fall apart, you are held. The river of your life was never meant to be dammed by fear. It was meant to flow freely through the landscape of surrender. And every time you try to swim upstream with your expectations, your plans, your attachments, you exhaust yourself against a current that was never meant to be fought. Miracles don't happen in the tension. They happen in the release. To surrender is not to become passive. To surrender is to become aligned. To surrender is not to stop acting. It is to stop reacting. It is to rise into the present moment and say, I will no longer be the prisoner of my need to control. I will trust the timing of the tides. I will walk forward even if I cannot see the shore. What if your next miracle is already waiting for you, but it needs you to step aside, to let go, to get out of the way? What if the very thing you've been chasing is behind the door labeled surrender? The truth is, the more you let go, the more you are given. Not because the universe is testing you, but because the universe is responding to your frequency. Surrender raises your vibration to match the miraculous. Surrender releases the fear that clouds your vision and reveals the abundance that was always there. You are not being punished when things fall apart. You are being recalibrated. You are being softened so that grace can enter. You are being emptied so that the divine can pour in. The ego will tell you that surrender is weakness, that letting go means defeat. But in truth, surrender is the highest form of strength because it says, I trust something greater than my fear. The one who surrenders is not lost. The one who surrenders is found. You are not here to muscle through life. You are here to melt into it. You are here to allow life to happen through you, not just to you. Stop asking life to obey your plans and start listening to the plans life already has for you, because those plans are often better, bigger, and more beautiful than anything your mind could have conceived. But they require your stillness. They require your openness. They require your surrender. The flower does not bloom by force. It opens to the sun in silence. The miracle does not arrive by demand. It arises in devotion. You cannot force grace, but you can welcome it. And every time you loosen your grip, every time you breathe and choose trust over panic, peace over pressure, flow over force, you become the doorway. You become the vessel. You become the miracle. Let your soul remind you now, you are not separate from the divine. You are an expression of it. And the more you release your need to figure it all out, the more you are guided by the wisdom that already knows. Life is not asking you to strive. It is asking you to surrender. You've spent years trying to make everything make sense, trying to connect dots that weren't meant to be connected, trying to hold on to people who were only passing through, trying to force open doors that were gently trying to close. And now there's an ache inside, not the kind that screams, but the kind that whispers, there must be another way. And there is. It is the path of surrender. The soft, luminous road that doesn't require you to figure it all out, but to feel your way forward with trust. Surrender is not a strategy. It's a sacred posture. It is the space between what you want to happen and what is meant to happen. It is the letting go of the idea that your worth is tied to your performance, your timeline, your accomplishments. It is not given up. It is given over, handing the reins to the infinite intelligence that shaped galaxies, carved oceans, and gave your lungs their first breath. When you surrender, you do not collapse. You rise not with arrogance, but with grace. You rise with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that the same force that turns caterpillars into butterflies, seeds into forests, and storms into calm skies is working behind the scenes of your life too. You stop fighting the unknown and begin bowing to it. You stop resisting the presence and begin welcoming it as your greatest teacher. There is no need to rush the unfolding. The rose does not bloom because it is told to. It blooms because it trusts the season. And you, dear soul, are no different. Your life is blooming in the exact rhythm it needs to. No faster, no slower. And the moment you stop trying to manipulate the timing, you free yourself from the prison of expectation. You release yourself into the miracle of now. Miracles are not far off explosions of glory. They are quiet alignments, a tear that finally falls after years of holding it in, a deep breath taken without fear, a conversation that heals what silence once fractured, a moment of stillness that reminds you that peace was never out there. It was always inside. These are the miracles born not of control, but of surrender. You cannot force healing. You cannot muscle your way into clarity. The soul does not speak in commands. It speaks in whispers. And to hear it, you must be still enough to listen. You must quiet the ego long enough to recognize that your striving has only taken you in circles. The real movement, the sacred movement, happens when you stop moving against life and start moving with it. We are conditioned to chase, to conquer, to prove. But the soul knows better. The soul seeks alignment, not achievement. The soul says, release the need to be impressive and choose instead to be authentic. Release the need to be right and choose instead to be at peace. Release the grip on who you thought you needed to be and return to who you've always been beneath the noise, divine, whole, and enough. And what are the pain, what are the heartbreak, the betrayal, the failures? They too are part of the sacred design. Not punishments, but portals. Not accidents, but awakenings. Pain is not the enemy. Resistance is. For when pain is welcomed, it becomes a purifier. It strips away all that is false. It brings you to your knees, not to destroy you, but to ground you. And from that ground, the miracle grows. There is nothing more courageous than trusting the unseen. Nothing more radical than choosing peace when chaos is loud. Nothing more divine than saying, I do not know what's coming, but I trust it anyway. That is surrender. That is power. That is when the universe conspires with your soul to make the impossible unfold with grace. You do not need to know what's next. You need only to be willing to not know that willingness is the invitation. That openness is the doorway. That surrender is the spark that sets the miracle in motion. Because the moment you say, I release this, the divine says, now I can work with it. Your fear is not the truth. It is the echo of old conditioning. The echo of a self that thought it had to earn love, prove worth, control outcomes. But that self is ready to be laid to rest. You are not your story. You are not your trauma. You are not your fear. You are the awareness beneath it. You are the presence watching it. And when you identify with the observer rather than the experience, you are free. Freedom begins where resistance ends. Peace begins where expectations fall. Miracles begin where surrender takes root. Let go of the need to have the answer. Let go of the need to fix, to force, to fabricate a future built on fear. Instead, stand in the stillness. Say to life, I am here. I am open. I am yours. And watch how life rearranges itself, not to punish you, but to awaken you. Watch how what once felt like delay becomes divine redirection. Watch how the closed doors become protection. Watch how your waiting becomes sacred preparation, not because you did more, but because you finally did less. You surrendered. The sky does not apologize for its storms. The ocean does not resist its tides. And the soul does not panic in the unknown. It trusts. It surrenders. It knows that even when you can't see the sun, the light has not disappeared. It has only moved behind the clouds. And your job is not to chase the sun. It is to trust that the clouds will part. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be. And when you surrender to that truth, you stop chasing miracles and you start living them. There is a rhythm to life that doesn't need your permission to beat. It pulses through the trees, hums beneath your skin, whispers through the silence between your thoughts. You were never asked to conduct the orchestra, only to listen and then respond with grace. The miracle is not in how loudly you demand answers, but in how gently you allow truth to reveal itself in divine timing. You were not sent here to dominate the current. You were sent here to learn how to float, how to merge with the river, rather than dam it with fear. When you surrender, you stop negotiating with the wind. You begin to sail with it. You allow the universe to show you where it's already going, and you accept that your destination doesn't need your map. It only needs your willingness to go. The mind will try to convince you that more control will bring you more peace, but that is the lie that keeps you spinning. Peace isn't the result of controlling life. It's the reward for ceasing to resist it. True peace is not the absence of storms, but the unwavering trust that you are carried even in chaos, that you are guided even in stillness, that you are loved even when all feels uncertain. It is only when you stop clinging that your hands become open to receive, and what flows in when you surrender is not random. It's exactly what your soul has been calling forth. But it was blocked by the noise of your expectations, the tension of your timing, the rigidity of your desires. Surrender softens you into receptivity. It turns your being into a garden for grace to take root. Letting go does not mean you no longer care. It means you finally care enough to stop interfering. It means you trust the deeper intelligence moving through all things, even those that feel broken, even those that seem delayed. There is a sacred intelligence in every moment that does not need your anxiety, only your availability. Every breath you take is proof that the divine is still choosing you. Even in your uncertainty, even in your doubt, even in your wariness, you are still being breathed by something beyond you. And that something, that source, that ineffable presence has never once asked you to fix everything. It only ever asked you to return. Return to stillness. Return to trust. Return to the knowing that you are already held. There is nothing to prove to the universe. There is only yourself to rediscover beneath the layers of control, judgment, and fear. The miracle begins when you stop trying to rewrite what was already perfectly written. Your purpose, your path, your becoming. Nothing has been missed. No step has been wasted. All of it, even the detours, even the delays, has been sacred choreography. It is not too late to begin again, because life is not linear. It is eternal. And every moment you choose surrender, you are reborn into a clearer, freer version of yourself. You are not who you were 5 minutes ago. You are not bound to the identity you wore yesterday. You are not beholden to the script the world gave you. You are a soul in motion, unfolding like a star remembering its own light. And this remembrance does not arrive through effort. It arrives through surrender. Not because you deserve it more, but because you finally allow it in. The ego will keep saying, "What's next?" The soul simply says, "Be here." The ego will ask, "How do I fix this?" The soul replies, "Let it teach you." The ego resists the present. The soul merges with it. When you are no longer at war with what is, you become a channel for what could be. You stop recycling old reactions and begin creating new responses. This is the power of surrender. Not that it changes the world, but that it changes you. And when you change, everything reflects that shift. The outer world bends to meet the vibration of your inner freedom. Stop asking how long it will take. Start asking who you're becoming while you wait. Because when you surrender, the process is the destination. The growth is the gift. The presence is the miracle. And there is no need to force anything, because what is meant for you will not require you to betray your peace to receive it. It will arrive as a whisper, not a bang. It will feel like ease, not effort. It will unfold like a dawn you didn't have to chase. This is the paradox. When you finally stop chasing, you become the space where everything arrives. Not because you gave up, but because you woke up. And waking up means remembering that your soul was never lost. It was only buried beneath the layers of striving, comparison, and control. Let the striving fall away. Let the comparison dissolve. Let the need to be the master of the outcome be replaced by the joy of being a participant in the mystery. You don't need to figure it all out. You only need to follow the nudges, the quiet whispers, the gentle pulls toward peace, because the voice of the soul will never scream. It will only wait quietly, patiently for you to be still enough to hear it. And when you do, it won't give you a 10-step plan. It will give you one word, one feeling, one sacred yes that leads you to the next. And in that yes, the miracle will begin to bloom. There is a moment, subtle, holy, quiet, when the storm inside you ceases, not because the world has changed, but because you have. It's the moment the tide within stops thrashing and begins listening. The moment you no longer demand that life rearrange itself for your comfort, but you find comfort in simply being. That is surrender. That is when the miracle begins. It's descent into form, not as an explosion, but as a deep, sacred silence inside your being. You realize that nothing outside you has to change for you to be free. That your wholeness is not waiting in a future you have to chase. It's already present, buried beneath the tension you no longer need to carry. The treasure was never in the outcome. The treasure is in your alignment, in your presence. In the moment you allow yourself to fully inhabit the now, without judgment, without clinging, without resistance, you begin to see that peace was never the result of solving everything. Peace is what rises when you stop trying to solve what was never yours to carry. It is what emerges when you stop managing the moment and start merging with it. And in that space, in that surrender, you notice how soft the world becomes. Not because the world changed, because you did. You stopped guarding your heart like a battlefield and began treating it like a garden. You stopped bracing for impact and started opening for grace. And life, faithful as always, responds to your inner environment. You don't receive miracles by earning them. You receive miracles by becoming a space where they're no longer resisted. You become a place where light is welcome, not doubted, where blessings aren't chased, but noticed, where the soul is not silenced by striving, but awakened by stillness. This is where healing begins, not when you finally fix the wound, but when you stop identifying with it. When you realize you are not your pain, you are the presence that has witnessed it all. You are the space through which the pain has passed. You are the sky, not the storm. You are the awareness behind the struggle. And that awareness is not broken. That awareness has always been whole. You have not been waiting for healing. Healing has been waiting for you to stop rehearsing the pain long enough to remember who you were before the story. Waiting for you to stop dragging the past into the present and begin allowing what is to be enough. Waiting for you to stop trying to fix what was and start living what is. The miracle is not the erasing of your past. It is the awakening that your past does not define you. The miracle is the shift in perception that says, even this was sacred. Even this served me. Even this can be blessed. That is the power of surrender. Not that it erases what happened, but that it removes the veil and reveals what it was always trying to teach you. You do not heal by controlling the future. You heal by releasing your grip on how healing should look. You free yourself from the timeline, the formula, the comparison. You allow your own soul to set the pace. And in doing so, you return to your nature fluid, intuitive, unhurried, divine. There is no urgency in the soul, only invitation, only presence, only the quiet knowing that all is unfolding as it must, not according to your calendar, but according to cosmic choreography. The very stars are in on this timing. The very winds know your name. The unfolding has never been random. It is you who are being perfectly timed with the beat of the universe. A rhythm your ego may not understand, but your soul has always trusted. And so you begin to breathe again fully, deeply, not just air, but life. You inhale without fear. You exhale without resistance. You realize that to be here fully, truthfully, vulnerably is the greatest miracle of all. Because in this presence, there is no past to fix, no future to fear, only now, only you, only love. And the love that meets you in surrender is not the conditional love of the world. It is divine. It is the love that saw you before your first breath. The love that never turned away even when you forgot. The love that stood quietly at the door of your heart until you finally stopped running, stopped striving, stopped doubting, and opened. That love is not a reward. It is your inheritance, and you need not perform to receive it. You only need to allow it, let it in, let it rise, let it wash away all the voices that told you you were not enough. Let it drown out the noise of your conditioning and bring you back home. Not to a place, but to yourself. You are not just part of the universe. You are the universe in human form. You are the breath of God remembering itself in a body. You are the sacred experiencing itself through limitation. And the moment you surrender to that, knowing your life is no longer a struggle, it becomes a dance. You stop trying to make everything happen and you start participating in what is already happening through you. You stop pushing and you start allowing. You stop resisting the tides and you begin to move with them. You understand that your job is not to be the source. Your job is to stay open to the source. And in that openness, miracles become ordinary. Peace becomes natural. Love becomes who you are, not what you seek. Now the light that once seemed so far has moved inside you. Not a distant star, but a quiet glow, warm, unwavering, eternal. You are no longer searching for signs. You have become one. You are no longer chasing miracles. You are breathing them. Surrender has stripped away the illusions. It has emptied the cup that once overflowed with striving, proving, controlling. And in that emptying, it has made space for the sacred, a space for grace, space for peace. And you begin to see that what you called loss was the clearing. What you called delay was the preparation. What you feared was the doorway. You were not broken. You were being opened. Life was not against you. It was carving you into a vessel wide enough to hold the infinite. The pain was not a punishment. It was a purification. And now in the silence after the storm, you can hear what was always true. You are not here to fight life. You are here to remember that you are life expressed in a body moving through a season unfolding in divine rhythm. And what unfolds now is no longer something you chase. It is something you witness. You no longer wrestle with your reality. You welcome it. You no longer beg for the moment to be different. You bow to it because you finally understand everything belongs, even the ache, even the doubt, even the silence, especially the silence. That is where the soul speaks. That is where miracles begin. Not in noise, but in stillness. Not in effort, but in surrender. Not in more doing, but in deeper being. And being means returning again and again to the quiet center within. The place untouched by time, unshaken by circumstance, unbothered by outcomes. The place that knows even when you don't. That trusts even when you can't. That waits even when you wander. This is the sacred presence at the core of you. It has never left. It only waited for you to stop running long enough to feel it again. You are not your fear. You are not your thoughts. You are not your wounds. You are the one who sees them, holds them, and loves them back into light. Surrender is not a point on your path. It is the path. The more you release, the more you rise. The less you force, the more flows to you. The softer you become, the stronger your light. And in that light, everything changes. Not because the world shifts, but because you've shifted your gaze. You now see with the eyes of love. You now walk with the ease of trust. You now speak with a voice of peace. And the beauty is nothing outside. You had to change. Your transformation was internal. It was not dramatic. It was not loud. It was sacred, quiet, profound, a miracle. And so the journey that began in resistance ends in reverence. You no longer ask life to go your way. You ask how you can align with the way life is already going. You no longer pray for circumstances to bend. You pray for your soul to expand into them. You no longer hold your breath waiting for a breakthrough. You breathe deeply knowing you are the breakthrough. The surrender is complete, not because you'll never resist again, but because now you know how to return. Now you know that even when your mind forgets, your soul remembers, and that remembrance is always available. That peace is always possible. That freedom is always one letting go away. So take this final breath with the reverence it deserves. Let it be a baptism. Let it be a homecoming. Let it be the soft thunder that reminds every cell in your being. You are safe. You are seen. You are sacred. You are not falling apart. You are being remade. And in this remaking, there is no need for fear, only faith. Faith in the unseen, faith in the unfolding, faith in the knowing that the more you surrender, the more you are carried, because the universe does not abandon what it creates. It completes it. It blesses it. It breathes through it, and it is breathing through you right now. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are standing in one, and it began the moment you surrendered.